Hello and welcome back to episode 218 of the Zombie Train. I am your host Ellis, otherwise known as Train Man, and as always I will preface this with the fact that if you want to see this footage in real time with commentary over top of it, as I work on the Tolbrin Peninsula route, go check out this week's Under Construction. It'll be coming at around the same time. So, this week, to jump straight into it, I didn't get the video. I was too busy getting maps and pictures and stuff like that. I need to go get the video. But anyways, this question was asked by Mike Pericolosi. It was about 4449 and 4460. Now, it was asked on the Zombie Train episode 198. Zombie Train 198. The thing about this is I've already talked a lot about 4449. I think I had an episode based on it, fairly recently. But did you ever have Southern Pacific 4449 or 4460 as engines in the western area? Well, 4449 did stay out there, although, as I've said, we did a number on her when we needed her, before the Battle of Portland. 4460... Where to begin on this disaster that was 4460. And I'm not talking about the engine itself. The engine itself, all things considered, was in okay condition for something that sort of, hangs out and sits out where it does. Was it? So it lives in St. Louis. I'll say that much. It lives in St. Louis. It lives at the Museum of Transportation in... Where is the specific, whatever, it's in St. Louis. It's sort of southwest of everything. It's still in a decent, area. It's more west than south. It's west-southwest. It's on a main line, and whoever designed the yard was on some sort of drugs. Just had to be. Now, I'm looking at the map from up on high, and I'm looking at the picture of 4460, and there's a disconnect in my brain about where 4460 actually was. Oh, there it is. It's over there. I understand now. I get it. So, it's facing the back of the property, behind a line of stuff, which is sort of boxed in by some other stuff. Now, once that engine got running, I will say this. The engine was a perpetual maintenance sink. I don't know what was wrong with it, it just didn't like running. So, it stayed close to St. Louis, but the fact of the matter is, St. Louis being a very large city in the middle of a very large open area, otherwise known as the Great Plains, is something that we at the Zombie Train Incorporated like to call a death trap. So, the idea was, like so many other places, smash and grab, get in there, get as much stuff out of there as possible, and then come back later when the zombies have sort of, dispersed or gone somewhere else. 4460, being in decent condition compared to a lot of the stuff in that yard, was a good candidate. Getting it out was not easy. When we did get it out, towed it somewhere else, and set some people to work on it, they said it was easy enough, and then it just kept breaking things. We had the electrical system totally fry on it. I don't know what happened, but the dynamo decided it was going to make more. And the internal resistance to keep it from generating too much power was gone, and it blew out the headlight. And the marker lights weren't on, or else they would have been a problem as well, although we had one of the brackets to one of the marker lights just, snap. For no good reason, while the train was going. So we ended up making a jerry-rigged marker light for a little while on that. The horn, air whistles, horn thing, flat out wouldn't work. We toyed with it. It worked out of the casing, put back in the casing, stopped working. We said F it. And then we had, the knuckle fracture, not break, but fracture, and we kept losing... obviously, some of the stuff was old. I get that. But it just felt like it wanted to break things. stay bolts, flues, those are the kind of things a good fireman can generally prevent. If you're a good fireman, those things don't break. They managed to just sort of come apart at a whim. It was completely bewildering. We swapped firemen a bunch of times, and it's just like, no, it wants to, it does what it wants. Here's the other thing. Let me go back on the imagery of this. Oh, you know what? I open it in Google Maps, not Google Earth. And look at what was going on there, because I remember rolling up there, trying to pull some stuff out, seeing some intricacies in the track arrangement, and immediately just saying F this. There are some curves at that museum that I don't know who designed them, and I don't know what they thought was going to be able to go around them. Like, I don't know what they thought the point of those curves were. You might be able to get a hand car around them if you're lucky. So, Museum of Transportation. Yeah, there we go. Yes, take me there. Because I want to be able to backdate and look at the way this looked when we got there. So, it's got the obnoxious super tight loop. It's got like half a Y that shouldn't exist. It has a tunnel as the lead to, like, to 4 tracks, which when we got there had a flat car with like a frame on it, in it. The tunnel itself is, well, worse for wear, and we did in fact manage to get something wedged in it, which was our own fault, but still a pain. It's a very small tunnel. So I could really go on about how much I dislike dealing with this museum. Alright, there we go. 11/2012. Yeah, so then, even still, the track arrangement had not, the track arrangement was not great. We got there, and we tried to get some stuff out. Some of the stuff was just way too rusted to even move, and took a lot of doing to get to move. It did not want to move. The steam engines that were out, like, in the open, we took on the first run a bunch of stuff. Second time we came back just to get the big boy, and the stuff that's parked behind it, and that was its own thing, because we had to do this weird switching maneuver with it, like out and back, and forward and back again. And then moving that thing was just its own, like, you don't want to move a big boy. I would have rather worked on it where it was. But the area was not, like, safe in the slightest, which is why we only got a couple things at a time. Then, we finally got in there to secure the area and lock down whatever else was left. We cleared out the main building of everything we wanted. The first, like, the outside yard that's tucked inside the super tight curve. Oh, it's a trolley thing. That's right. So yeah, we had the big boy. There's a nickel plate road engine in there. There's a C&O engine in there. There's a lot of stuff that's, like, tucked away. They've got a lot of good steam, and a lot of it is in decent shape. A lot of it is in not decent shape, though. They were basically like Steamtown, in a way. Except with a way more infuriating track arrangement. I don't know who put this here. So it was a pain to get stuff out, and then we realized that there are 4 tracks of things that aren't connected to anything. And it's sort of like a, well, who the hell did this moment? And we sort of deliberated on that for a while until we realized the rail was still there. It was just buried under the pavement. And so we had to get in there and chip up the pavement in order to get stuff out of the middle. Meanwhile, we go to pull stuff out of the middle, and that's when we realize we're 1 car length too long and jam something at the entrance to the tunnel. We're lucky the tunnel did not come down. That was something that I pointed out when I got that report. I was not there for that instance. That way I could blame somebody else. No. But, oh my god, that museum was just its own thing. They don't have, like, they're not a very big, they're not a museum that's very big on running. They just sort of show off a lot of stuff. They're sort of like the Rare Museum of Pennsylvania in a way, except they have no corresponding Strasbourg where you can do work. So that means that for everything we took out of there, we had to take it a great distance to any place that we were doing major work. And the thing about the Museum of Transportation is, compared to all of the places where we had operations, when we were working at Strasbourg, or we were working at Steamtown, when we had that area secured, that took a bit. I cannot answer that. Or, Cheyenne, which was the first place we jumped on because it wasn't too hard to secure. They're really, really far from anything, which made dealing with it all the more infuriating. It was go in there, take a few things, hike them halfway across the country, and then go back for like 2 more things that'll take you hours to get out. Oh my god. We went basically everywhere else before coming back there. We had a small group of people keeping an eye on that area, but with available retreat just in case. We stationed a Hank there. And it was, okay, well, as long as we don't make any noise, we don't generally attract any zombies. We're kind of in the middle of suburbia. But at the same time, it just wasn't like... It wasn't something... Oh, crap, I turned on the thing by accident. It wasn't a place that was very conducive to getting things from. And also, they did have a lot of diesels and unrelated freight equipment, which we didn't need or want. But yeah, they also at that point did not have the Y6, because it was over elsewhere. It was in like Roanoke or something. We thought they did have it. We got there, and it was like, well, where's the big thing? Oh wait, no, sorry, other way around. We figured it was going to be in Roanoke. When we got there, it was, where's the big thing? I thought it was supposed to come here, and then it was, no, they're just talking about that. It's actually in St. Louis. Oh, okay. At this point, I wasn't really up on my knowledge of what all was going on there. So, it was a little bit of a now I'm in the loop experience, although the loop, the people that were in the loop were mostly dead or zombified at that point. And they certainly don't care about what we're doing with their engines. But, yeah, 4460. Did not become the flagship of the things that we took out of the St. Louis Museum of Transportation, that is for sure. Honestly, with the fact that we didn't really deal with anything in that area, there was no flagship of those engines. They sort of got distributed. Yeah, 4460 did go westward, but so did about half of the engines in that place. The other half went eastward. And once we got everything out of there, it was, okay, we're going to ignore this location primarily. It's way too close to a major population center, and it doesn't have anything of value. Once we'd cleared out the steam engines, it's not like they had a good machine shop or anything. They don't do that much in terms of running. They aren't even working, when we got there, it's not like they were working on restoring anything. They just had stuff. They can do some cosmetic stuff, but they're not runners. They've got a trolley museum and nowhere to run trains to otherwise. They're not set up for that. So, that's the story of me being upset with the 4460 and where she comes from. Or where she lived for a while. And maybe I'll pay a visit to that place again. It's just like, why? Why did we go here? They have a lot of stuff. It wasn't stuff that was like, yes, take us. It was stuff that was like tucked away in bad locations with bad track work and dumb setups. I mean, no offense to the people that put it together. It works fine as a museum. If you're trying to get stuff in and out of there, it's like, no, it's not going to happen. So, that's that. Yeah. I'd rather not worry about St. Louis too much. Or 4460 for that matter. See you guys next week. Train Man out.